Assalamualaikum, my name is Alia Nadira binti Hanafi. Today I'm going to present about the political and geopolitical risk analysis in global business. Mainly focus on Huawei case studies. Hi everyone, today I'll be presenting about Huawei's company. So it was one of the world's biggest players in the telecommunications and smart device industry. It was founded in 1987 in Shenzhen. Huawei has grown to serve over 3 billion people across more than 170 countries. But despite its global success, the company has faced serious political and geopolitical challenges, especially in the last 5 years, with rising tensions between China and Western countries like the United States. Huawei became a key target in global tech disputes. So in these presentations, we'll look into how issues like US trade restriction and bans on Huawei's involvement in 5G networks have affected the company's operations, strategies, and the future direction. We will also explore how Huawei has responded to these challenges and what lessons other multinational companies can learn from its experience. Now, let's go into the political and geopolitical risks that Huawei has been dealing with in recent years. So, the first major issue is the US trade restrictions and sanctions. So, in 2019, the US government placed Huawei on its entity list, which means American companies couldn't sell key technology to Huawei without government approval. These include things like semiconductors and essential software. Later, the restrictions went even further, banning Huawei from using chips made overseas if they were built with US technology. As a result, Huawei's supply chain took a huge hit, especially in its smartphone divisions. In fact, the company had to reduce smartphone productions by over half due to the lack of critical components. The second big challenge is the international backlash and 5G infrastructure bans. So countries like UK, Sweden, Japan, and Australia follow the US lead by banning Huawei from participating in their 5G network projects. For instance, the UK gave telecom operators until 2027 to completely remove Huawei equipment from their 5G system, and Sweden's court later upheld a full ban on Huawei's 5G gear. So these actions were mainly driven by national security concerns and fears of data privacy. When we talk about the short-term and long-term effects, in the short term, Huawei faced a steep drop in global market presence. Smartphone shipments declined sharply and the company had to immediately shift its focus. In the long term, however, these challenges push Huawei to invest more in domestic technology like software platforms and cloud services. They also began concentrating more on the local Chinese market and building alternatives to reduce reliance on foreign suppliers. So overall, these risks didn't just create short disruptions, but they forced Huawei to completely rethink and restructure its global strategy. So next we will talk about impact on business operations and strategy. So the political and geopolitical challenges faced by Huawei have significantly disrupted its business operation and shaped its strategic response. Firstly, under operational disruption and supply chain instability, US sanctions restricted Huawei's access to critical technologies like advanced semiconductors and software. So this severely impacted its smartphone business and 5G equipment productions, forcing the company to seek new suppliers and develop domestic alternatives to secure its supply chains. Secondly, in terms of financial performance and market retractions, Huawei experienced a 28.6% revenue decline in 2021. However, through strong operational efficiency and a shift toward high-margin sectors, the company still achieved a notable net profit. So a key strategic move included the sale of its Honor smartphone brand to protect it from sanctions. Lastly, under strategic shift and technological self-reliance, Huawei significantly increased R&D investment, whereby they're spending over 22% of its revenue in 2021 because to reduce reliance on foreign technology. It also expanded into cloud computing, digital energy, and enterprise solutions, which help sustain business growth despite geopolitical pressures. So after that, we talk about proposed mitigation strategies. So to overcome the political and geopolitical challenges, Huawei has taken several important steps, which is the first one is under supply chain diversification and technological independence. So the company has been working hard to reduce its dependence on foreign suppliers, especially for semiconductors. Huawei is now investing heavily in domestic chip production facilities and partnering with other players in China's tech ecosystem to build a more self-reliant supply chains. So this approach is similar to what companies like Samsung have done to protect themselves from external pressure. Second is strategic market realignment, and regional focus has become a key move. Instead of focusing on Western markets that are heavily influenced by US policy, Huawei is now expanding in regions like Africa, Latin America, and parts of Asia. So these markets are more open to Chinese technology and offer new growth opportunity, especially in areas like rural 5G deployment and localized software solutions. Lastly, in terms of institutional engagement and public relations management, so Huawei has stepped up efforts to build global trust. So the company established cybersecurity transparency centers in places like Brussels and Dongguan. So these centers are designed to promote open dialogue with governments and industry players, showing Huawei's commitment to cybersecurity and data privacy. This proactive engagement is meant to improve the company's image and ease international concerns. So in conclusion, Huawei's experience over the past few years really shows how political and geopolitical risks can strongly shape a company's directions. What started as a trade restriction and 5G bans end up pushing Huawei to rethink not only how it operates, but where, with whom it does business. So the company's shift towards self-reliance, especially in technology like semiconductors, has been crucial in staying competitive. At the same time, redirecting its market focus toward countries in the global south and making efforts to be more transparent through things like cybersecurity centers are all part of a larger strategy to manage global uncertainty. Looking ahead, it's important that Huawei continues investing in innovation, especially in areas like chip design and fabrications. Strengthening partnership in politically neutral regions can also help the company build long-term stability. And finally, working closely with international regulators and continuing to build trust will be key to staying resilient in today's unpredictable global environment. In short, Huawei case is a valuable lesson for other multinational companies because it shows the importance of adaptability, resilience, and having a proactive risk management approach when facing political and geopolitical pressure.